One of the things that most impresses me about Joe Taylor is the way that God has helped him to be able to network and build relationships with people around the world. It's truly amazing to me the contacts he has, not only in the United States, but in countries on nearly every continent in the globe. I'm standing at the Frankfurt Book Fair, and over the last few days I've been amazed to watch Joe as he's met with people from China, India, Estonia, Brazil, Russia, Slovakia, and many other places. God has truly blessed him with relationships and partnerships that reach around the world. God has used the networking and partnerships that Joe has so faithfully cultivated to make possible really the vast majority or nearly all of the major projects that GPM has done around the world. I appreciate Joe's vision. I appreciate his willingness to step outside his comfort zone and take advantage of unique opportunities that God places in his life. And I am truly excited to see how God is going to continue multiplying the opportunities to spread the gospel around the world through the printed page as a result of the book fairs Joe so faithfully attends each year.
Joe, a lot of people don't know what takes place at a book fair. Can you tell us what a normal day looks like at a book fair?
Sure. Normal day at a book fair is very busy from early to late. For instance, this morning we're up way before daylight. First, you use public transportation. Sometimes that is reasonably quick and sometimes it's not. And whenever you use public transportation, that means you're going to walk a lot. So we've gotten up, got breakfast, gotten to the train station, false start, went to the wrong platform, and the train was about to leave, so we had to run to catch this train. And now we're on our way to the book fair. We'll get off at the train station, then we'll go out in front and catch the tram, go several blocks to the venue of the book fair. And then when you go inside, you show your pass. Then you have to go through this huge, long security line. Then you're inside, and it is a huge, huge facility. There are many large buildings that are used by the book fair. It takes a little bit of walking. Sometimes you can ride a shuttle bus to the location where your stand is, your booth. So then on the first day, you set up your booth, put out your books that you're going to display and whatever signage you have. Then the whole day is packed full of meetings every 30 minutes, every hour, depending on how much time we think it'll require, with book distributors and publishers, people that use and distribute literature, whoever it is that can help us spread the gospel.
Wow, that sounds like a really busy day.
Yeah, it is very busy. In fact, I've described a book fair to people many times as a 3-day 100-yard dash. So while it is busy, I love book fairs. It's busy, it's exciting, it's challenging. It's wonderful to come to these book fairs and see God work, begin to make connections with people that we can work with. A lot of times people that I've never met before. It's wonderful. In fact, every major project we have ever done, except for one, has been the direct result of a book fair.
Well, I'm looking forward to what God has in store for us today.
Amen. It's going to be good.
Joe, you've mentioned numerous times that most of your important projects have happened in one of these book fairs. Can you explain how that happens?
Sure, Robert. Every major project has come as a result of a book fair except for one. And that is just strictly through relationships. You meet new people, you come back year after year, they get to know you, you get to know them. A relationship builds, trust builds, and wonderful things happen. Yeah, in the world of publishing, nothing happens really without those relationships and partnering, networking together. It's just all about relationships.
One of the major partnerships that has come out of a book fair is your partnership with Josh McDowell Ministries. Josh himself has said that he likes what GPM does. He likes translating his material into international English.
Yeah, Robert, it's really amazing the doors that God has opened. In fact, he has given permission for any book that he has, any of his books. All we need to do is just ask for it, and we have permission to translate it into international English. We've done a number of his books already. For example, More Than a Carpenter, and we're working on another one right now. There's many more to come. In fact, here in just a minute, we'll be at their booth and we'll have a conversation with them.
Great. Looking forward to it.
Good morning.
Hey, Joe.
Hey,
How you doing,
how are
man?
you?
Good.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Hey, Stas, good to see you, brother.
And you know Christy and Jennifer?
How are you?
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Hi, how are
Hey,
you?
how are you?
Very well.
Good to see you all.
Good to see you. Welcome to Frankfurt.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
You're looking forward to many meetings? You have a lot scheduled?
We have had lots of meetings and we have some more. So,
Good.
yeah.
Are you here through today or tomorrow?
Through today.
Good.
Robert, I remember the first book fair that I ever went to. In fact, I think it was the first Christian book fair in Russia in recent history. I think it was an old school building. And I remember walking up the sidewalk and up the front steps into that building, and it was just surreal. This is Russia. I was convinced, and it was obvious that God wanted me to be there. I knew that book fairs were important, but going into a different culture, I felt like I just stuck out like a sore thumb. One of the most exciting things that happened at that book fair was that I met Bill Noller. He was with Tyndall House at that time. It was before he retired, and he was in charge of all of Tyndall's publishing outside North America. He wanted to know what I was doing, what kind of publishing we did. And when I explained to him the concept of international English, his immediate response was, "That'll work." Then, after a few minutes of conversation, he said, "Joe, you know, what you're doing will fit perfectly with a book that does not exist but needs to exist." He said, "We need a wonderful, small book, not too many pages so that it's inexpensive to print, but it's got to be beautiful with color illustrations that explains the plan of salvation, closes with an invitation to salvation." And that was the inspiration for Is God Really My Father? Dr. Connie Palm had come back from Taiwan not too long before. When I wondered who's going to write this and asked God, Dr. Connie Palm came to my mind, and there was never any other option, it seemed to me.
So Joe, you told us about your first ever book fair and the vision that God gave you for Is God Really My Father, and about approaching Dr. Connie Palm to write the book. Can you tell us what the impact of that book has been?
It's an interesting thing. Dr. Palm didn't have a lot of confidence in her ability as a writer. She didn't recognize that. And she didn't think that it was going to do much. And I said, "Dr. Palm, this book, before it's all over with, is going to do 1 million copies." And she just shook her head. So I'm glad you could see that. And right now we're right at about 500,000 copies. Most of them in the Arab world.
From that first book fair in Russia, where you felt like you stood out like a sore thumb, to today where we're sitting at the world's largest book fair in Frankfurt, Germany, is it worth it?
It's an interesting thing. Book fairs are very expensive to participate in. It's expensive to go to book fairs, to travel. It's just an expensive situation. However, every major book project we have ever done, except one, has been the direct result of a book fair. And now here we are at millions of books in distribution. So your question was, is it worth it? It is absolutely worth it.
I've been to a lot of book fairs, but nothing quite like this one.
No, this is different. It's the biggest one in the world, but of course every book fair is different, but God has certainly blessed us with this one. Robert, there have been people from all over the world here, and this is the wonderful thing about these book fairs because they are so international. People come from all over, literally. And that reminds me of a book fair a few years ago. Actually, it was in Hong Kong, and I met this publisher there from Myanmar, formerly known as Burma. He traces his Christian heritage all the way back to Adoniram Judson. At that book fair and in succeeding conversations, this new friend and I worked out the arrangement so that 4 of our books were translated into Burmese and published. And the way it's arranged, they sell those books and take the money and reprint them and sell them and reprint them. So it's just a self-perpetuating situation. And those books are still spreading all across the country of Myanmar. You know, Adoniram Judson was one of the most famous missionaries ever. In fact, Adoniram Judson was the very first American missionary. You know, just as Americans supported Judson and he spread the gospel eventually all across the country of Myanmar, God's children have supported gospel publishing mission to the point we have literature in virtually every country on earth. Book fairs have been a key to the success of gospel publishing mission. As you support us and we continue to network and build relationships around the world, we know that God is going to do things far beyond anything that we can imagine.